Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to be reviewing chapter 1089. When we're going to basically be talking about this great chapter after the end of the terrible break week. So please like and subscribe if you have not. This is Akainu Fanboy, and that is Geboss. So, Geboss, do you want to start us off and give your general thoughts?
For the chapter overall?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was pretty good. It's good to get back to the Straw Hats on Egghead, because we've spent a lot of time away from there. Like, we had the whole Kid and Shanks clash. Well, maybe not clash, more like curb stomp.
Yeah.
We had that. We had Law getting beat. We had Kobe and Garp and everything versus Aokiji and the Blackbeard Pirates, and we had Sabo's whole flashback. So it's been a couple months since we've been here, especially with the breaks and everything.
Right. And I definitely had the refresh on a couple things with the satellites and all this stuff in the Stella, and I'm just like, man, there's been a lot going on for sure, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of reflect on a lot of these various details, because we've been jumping all over the place for Egghead Island.
Yeah, it's like its own like mini arc in of itself, with how much we're cutting away.
Yeah, totally. So what were your thoughts on this cover story, though?
I mean, just looking at it right now, I usually tend to skim over the non-story focused cover stories, but I just noticed while I was looking at this that Sanji's peeping his head in the background through the window.
I didn't notice that at first. I was just like, who's this cow? What the hell? You know?
It's Sanji.
I know.
He has
yeah.
the note from him.
But one quick note with the Shonen Jump cover, is cool to see advertisement for the One Piece card game with the, which is a game I enjoy. But yeah, the 7 cost, 7k power Luffy card right there being advertised. So it's interesting to see Shonen Jump pushing this more and more. So, yeah. So starting off right here, it was really interesting to see all the various reactions from all the C's, and it started off with the East Blue, where we got to see Dadan, Makimo, and her kid, and we're not seeing the face of the kid, which is serious, you know.
He probably has. I don't think we've ever talked about like who we think the father is, but it's probably Shanks, right?
Yeah, I think there's a fair way of saying it. Yeah,
He
sure.
probably has Shanks scars already.
No, yeah.
Oh no, we see his face when in the one panel before, but we get the world famous whoop slap coming up.
You're right. Yeah. But it was cool to see all the C's again. You know, I do love it when Oda does that, because it's just a reminder of how vast and expensive this the lore is, and then we get to see my boy Iceberg.
Yeah, I mean, we go from Logtown, we see like Don Chinjiao's kingdom in the West Blue. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It was featured on a cover story. I don't recognize the South or North Blue locations though.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah. And then do you think that's anyone important with the panel of under Hina right there, where it went unnoticed?
That's Momo.
Oh yes, okay.
That's Wano.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't seen much of him in his adult form, to be fair.
Yeah. Okay. No. So that's cool. But I did like how they went back to Lucia getting destroyed.
Yeah.
Because it shows that there's actually like consequences. You know, when something happens in the world of One Piece, it kind of extends to the rest of the world. You know, it's just not okay. We destroyed a city and then we're never gonna bring it up ever again, kind of thing. You know, kind of like the Zoro pill thing. You know, with the negative consequences. You know,
yeah.
Most of the time, when something is done, something is manifested. You know.
Yeah. What I thought was interesting is that, I think they said it took 6 days for all the shockwaves to reach people, which makes like the world of One Piece really big in terms of like global size. Because I think I'm not a weather person, but aren't tsunamis, don't they, if they start like in the Pacific, don't they usually reach out by a certain time limit? Like, it's not 6 days it would take to feel the aftershocks.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, but it also shows like the scale of the power of the mother flame.
Yes. And that's pretty interesting to see how that worked out there and everything. Yeah, and it does show how big the world is. And we see the Ivankov, and then we see an island sink and everything too. So it is cool to kind of, like I said, I just like the connectivity, the world of One Piece, and it makes you think if it's gonna have an effect on the island of Egghead.
I don't know. That is something to think about, but what I was also thinking about is that this kind of ups the threat of the world government, especially Imu, if they have access to this power. Yeah, because we haven't really seen something of this scale. Because there have been theories about the red line coming down and everything, and it shows that something of that power is capable of being built in this world. Yeah. Right.
And so it is interesting with this part though, because it's kind of like when we get back to Egghead, it's like I don't know. We keep on saying it over and over again, where we talk about how everything's kind of a repeat of the pre-time skip and everything, and we were getting a lot of Sabaody vibes here, but now we're kind of getting the vibes of Ohara again, where they're kind of doubling the size, of everything now. Like instead of 5 vice admirals, they have 9 vice admirals, and then they have a total of 30,000 Marines now too. And so it's like, oh, we're just gonna double up on everything, But I did like the vice admiral designs; they're pretty cool.
Yeah, they the only one I recognized Dahl, because Dahl. We haven't seen her in a good minute, and Doberman. I think all the rest of them are new, from what I recall. Just randomly, the one guy on the left kind of looks like one of Whitebeard's admirals. I think his name was like Magai or something.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
You got the chin guy right there too.
The what guy?
Chin guy.
Oh yeah. That kind of looks like me in real life.
I think it looks more like Jimper, but
so I heard the theory. What do you think about this? Well, it was more people like talking in the comments. How there are 9 vice admirals coming and 9 straw hats, plus that aren't Luffy, because Luffy would fight Kizaru. What do you think about that?
I like it, the idea of it. I think that's a cool idea, but I think who would the Gorosei fight? And 2, I think Vice Admirals is kind of low tier for Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei.
I was thinking that too. I thought it was an interesting thought though.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. But yeah, we see Kizaru just take out all the sea beasts that start to attack him.
And I do like how they introduce it. Like, the admirals love to eat food. Like, I remember Fujitora was on the boat with Sengoku, and he was eating tons of noodles with him. When they had Jack imprisoned and everything. And it's just a cool little introduction. I mean, just like look at how they're just like serving him all the food and stuff. And I love the shot of him. He looks so cool with the drip of the suit and everything. It's kind of confirmed now that the Pacifistas have the technology basically from Gazari's power, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, I like the little flashback we get of Sentomaru and Kizaru and Vegapunk. Because have we ever seen like a younger Kizaru like that?
The closest was basically episode 0 where we saw a very, very brief shot of him, and then when he took down Arlong as a vice admiral. Those are the only times.
Yeah, he almost looks like Doflamingo a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's a cool shot. I like it. It just shows a different side of him, you know.
Yeah, and we get the conversation between him and Sentomaru, because they were introduced as like partners back in Sabaudi. So it's interesting to see them turn against each other. But it seems like Sentomaru's loyalty is more to Vegapunk than the government.
Yeah, and they seem to be breaking through a lot of their defenses pretty easily, you know. And Kazari's just kind of interesting, where he's not like Kuzan, who kind of has, or Fujitora, where he just will disobey the world government, but he doesn't take it to the same serious extent as Akainu or Green Bull either. You know, he's pretty moderate on this point, you know.
Yeah.
Then we do see Doberman like being basically directly subordinate to the Gorosei too, which I thought he's kind of like the head vice admiral in this operation. And as we know, Doberman is like probably one of the most extreme adherents to absolute justice.
Yeah. But the I thought it was interesting that we have like Mary Joie people guarding Saturn's room as well. Like he has his own personal guard with him.
Right.
So do you think that they would be stronger than Marines?
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, we see some of those guards get like kind of folded by a Sabo, at least in the anime, I think, you know.
Yeah, but
if that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, but Sabo is strong, no matter how much we may not like him.
That's true. So I don't know if they're kind of like fodder level or what. I assume he is going to be identified if he says, I don't want anyone to know I'm here. He is going to be identified at one point, you know? So I do think that's going to end up happening. So it is interesting how they analyze the situation and everything. They still basically think they're in control, you know, of the situation. But it was interesting how Saturn's just like, yeah, kill off the researchers. They might know something. So again, this is like going back again with the whole Orhara incident yet again.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. It's flashback to the to what happened with Robin. No one got out alive.
Yeah. What did you think about the body part, though?
So, I think we basically get the confirmation, because I had to look it up, and it said, I think it was on a Viva card or something, like her age was listed to be 22, but it said estimated. So, I think what Saturn is saying is basically that she's still like a child. So, with her ability, she could just make herself appear however she wants, which makes sense with her personality, because she's very like petulant. And it makes sense, kind of, if that's the case, why she would get along so well with Luffy and Chopper, because they're like the youngest members of the crew.
But it's kind of interesting to see him show any form of mercy though at the same time, because like look what they did to Robin, you know.
Yeah, and it's also he says like we no longer have any use for her. So what were they using her for to begin with? Or am I just blanking on something?
Yeah, they didn't really confirm, and I assume because she was like at the reverie where she was free, right? Basically, you know.
But
maybe she was...
I didn't think that they knew that was her.
Yes, but maybe she was doing a project there. I mean, I feel like they let her go. Maybe they like did a trade, basically, you know. Whatever the exchange could have been. I mean, obviously it could have been in use with their fruit, and maybe I know kind of the running theory is with the Gorosei and all that stuff, you know.
I mean, we saw in the flashback her with Sabo.
Yes.
They escaped, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, I mean, well, because like she did get captured by Akainu, right, and everything, you know.
Yeah.
And he did say personally, my blood started boiling when I heard like you escaped personally and things like that. So she probably does have like kind of a utility for the government we don't know about it. She's probably been doing it for a while now. Mm-hmm. You know. So, yeah, but then at the same time, she's a kid though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So definitely more question marks. We don't know exactly what her role is right now. You know.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny in this exchange with York and everything, though, too. Definitely, I think a little bit of a surprise towards the end.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to get a flashback to what happened. Because I think they said that it's been like a day since they've been locked up in there.
Yeah.
So,
because they basically just kind of restated she wanted to be a celestial and all this stuff, you know, and they were hoping to get like a lot of the technology and knowledge out of her and things like that too, right? You know, basically get Vegapunk while killing the annoying Vegapunks, basically. And then basically the tables are turned, and we truly see like what happens with York, you know.
Yeah. Before we get to that, I thought it was interesting that the Gorosei are talking to her about being able to replicate the Mother Flame.
Mm-hmm.
So, from what I'm reading here, I want to see the official translation, like I always do. But it seems to indicate that the Mother Flame was something that Vegapunk could only make there because of the power station that's there. Mm-hmm. So, if that's the case, then like it seems to me like York or like Vegapunk made the Mother Flame, but for a different purpose, because he, like we've seen before, he doesn't make inherently destructive things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if it's something to do with some sort of ancient weapon technology, like the Mother Flame's derived from something like that. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. I think that's a good observation. Yeah, and I guess right there. Yeah. Yeah, maybe the world government also has another source where they can like replicate that same power too. You know?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, we forgot to talk about it, but we get to see the aftermath of the Mother Flame's attack, and I think both of us, before we started recording, both of us noticed that it struck a very similar feeling to Enies Lobby.
Mm-hmm.
And have they ever stated how old Enies Lobby is?
I feel like, man, let me think here. I'd have to look it up, but I think it gave the impression, at least, that it may have been there, like, it was a pretty ancient establishment, you know, kind of thing, you know? So, Yeah, I don't know. I do think it does seem pretty old and things like that too, and it was a big deal when they destroyed it. But yeah, you're right though. It does have basically the same structure as the Lucia thing, in a nutshell. You know.
Yeah. So that still brings up questions about the 100-year void, because it can be assumed that that's when that happened, and there's just weird things about Annie's lobby too. Like it's never night there. But yeah,
it's connected to Marineford and Impel Down.
Yeah. Yeah, it's. I thought that was the most interesting part of the Lucia stuff.
Yeah, because maybe it could be like where the Kingdom of the D used to be, you know, potentially.
Yeah,
because
I think O'Hara had a theory about that on YouTube. I watched that one a while ago, and I was like, if any of this turns out to be true, I want to be surprised. So I've kind of stopped watching like the end of the series theory stuff.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, and that seems like a world government thing to destroy civilization and to rebuild something upon it, and saying it's justice and things like that too,
Yeah. Colonizers.
Colonizers, right? Hey, that's how they like judge the world, right? Is Zenny's lobby and things. And then that was the first time when they've really had an aggression against the world government too, right? Is when they destroyed the flag and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of Ennie's lobby, we get to see Lucci at the end.
New crew member.
Yeah.
Nakama.
He's replacing Robin, who's not there at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see at the end that York's being held hostage by the Straw Hats, and Lucci's there as well. So, like I said earlier, we're probably going to get a flashback of this because we have a lot of stuff unanswered about how it got this way.
Right. So, okay. So since we're in a new chapter, I'm gonna probably ask this in a poll question too. But are you more confident that they're gonna succeed, or less confident? Getting off Egghead.
I don't know, because right now they seem like they're pretty well bunkered up in there. Because it seems hard for anyone to get into the upper lab where they are. So, I don't know. I'm still 50-50 on it, but they seem pretty relaxed because like apparently they got the Seraphim under control, or they beat them. I don't think that they beat them though. It's more likely they got it back under the Stella's control, Vegapunks. But yeah, I mean, even Lucci's teaming up with them, so who I would not have seen that coming. Like Lucci's just because last time Lucci was just tied up and Nami was kicking him. Yeah. Yeah, and we see Usopp and Frankie are unfrozen.
Yes.
From Seraphim Boa's powers.
So where I'm at, yeah, I guess I'm where you're at because I think so basically how I see it is whoever has the more confidence basically is the person most likely to lose. And so they were showing the confidence with like the world government, like, oh, they have all these ships and they have 9 vice admirals and it's overwhelming, right? And it makes you think like, oh, they're gonna lose because they're hyping them up, right? But at the same time, Luffy's getting a hype moment here too, by off-screening York.
Yeah.
So, and they're in this, and they mentioned it earlier in the chapter too, like they're like it's impossible to get to them because they have the Stella's at like 100% right now, right?
Yeah.
So you get what I mean? It's like the tensions back and forth. Like, yeah, Luffy's been having an easy time. He's got control of the Seraphim. He's beat CP0. Now CP0 is working for them. Everything's going pretty damn well, and Sentomaru's defending them too. And the Vegapunk's with them, and they're all going to get off the island and happily ever after. But my whole thing is like, I don't know. It kind of means, I think it might be Oda setting up the expectation that they are going to fail because of all these good things that are happening to them.
I mean, I can see that.
So, okay, I'm more 60% they're going to fail now. Now I'm just talking myself through this. If York had them continuously kidnapped and things like that, and they came over to like pick them up and all that, then yeah, Luffy and all them win. But the fact that Luffy is freed now and his crew, it makes me more inclined to think they're gonna fail. And because remember we had this discussion, who can bail them out right now? Because Kuzan's occupied with Garp.
Yeah,
Blackbeard's
he's not
occupied with.
He's not the good guy we thought he was.
Yeah. And then Blackbeard's occupied with Law, and then going back to the deal with Garp. And then Shanks is occupied with Kid.
I mean,
Garp is out of commission.
Yeah. I mean, we do have the Blackbeard ship that's pulling up. Remember, there was a Blackbeard ship pulling up to Egghead, so we don't know what's happening with them.
But can they? They're not gonna like help out the Straw Hats, or like they're not gonna be as powerful enough to break through this fleet, if you will.
I mean, it could be a distraction for them to get away.
Yeah. But in terms of like someone coming in to end the war, quote unquote.
Yeah, Katarina Devon's gonna have her Shanks moment.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, I can see Shanks coming in and be like, Kizaru back off.
Yo,
kind of like when he do Green Bull.
What if she disguised herself as Shanks?
But I mean, that's kind of my point. I don't really expect it to be kind of like a Green Bull coming in, like, oh, how are they going to get out of this one? I think it's like if they were to lose, basically, Vegapunk dies, maybe Bonnie gets captured, or they get a humiliating defeat and they barely get out with it by the skin of their teeth, kind of thing. That's how I would see it, and it wouldn't be like the Green Bull thing, for example. I think another opportunity is the waves that are affecting all the other islands are going to help them escape.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think it's not just going to be, okay, see you later, kind of like the end of Eni's Lobby. We got away scot-free. I think there's going to be like a tragedy mixed into it, if it's going to be like that. Because like I said, there's a lot of parallels to Sabaody going on here. And if Garp, Garp, Kid, and Law have also experienced extreme L's, I think there might be a shot Luffy experiences one too. Yeah. So I'll definitely post that question though for everyone.
Yeah.
But any closing thoughts?
It's good to be back with the Straw Hats. I want to see the flashback, because I feel like what happened is probably part of York's stupidity as well, because she does not seem the most competent.
Right.
But yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, good chapter. Like I said, good to be back with the Straw Hats. Really excited to see the conclusion of Egghead coming up, and it's been a phenomenal arc, and very thankful for it. But please like and subscribe if you have not, and we will be bringing you some more content this upcoming week too. So just please keep that in mind, and so have a good one. Peace.
See ya.